Hello, my name is Brianna Sinclair, and this is my 10th week on HRT. Quick measurements update. My hips are 34 1/4, my bust is 34 1/2, and my waist is 25 1/2. The extra 1/4 inch on my bust, I think, is due to my bust actually growing a little bit, because they do still hurt occasionally, which is fine. I just want to say that's what I attribute that extra 1/4 inch to. It might not all be due to that, because I have been working a little bit more at my first job lifting a heavier thing, so it might be due to a little bit of that, but I'm not 100% sure. But I contribute most of it to my breast growth, because they are still growing, and I have noticed them getting a little bit bigger. My little my little bud is about this big, which is about the size of like a little pizza roll, I guess, which isn't a whole lot. It's a lot for me because I've spent the first like 28 of my years not having anything there, so it's good to finally have something there. My emotional range, I think, is definitely leveled off. I'm definitely able to control my emotions, I feel like, more so, if not better, than I used to, which is good. And I have noticed a lot of change in like my muscle development. My muscle mass is definitely decreasing, which does suck. It does suck because I'm not able to lift the things that I used to, because I am trying to minimize the amount of things that I do have in my room. And kind of just putting them in a storage unit, and me having to lift those things mostly by myself has proven to be a little bit more difficult. Than I remember, because I was able to move everything by myself initially, and now I have significant trouble with that. My sex drive is kind of decreased a little bit. It's just more like I do it out of habit right now. Is like to like satisfy my sexual needs. Are you coming to join me? Well, welcome to the video, Fendi. Well, come on, get over here. Don't put all your hair in my face now. Fendi hasn't been in my recent videos, because usually he just wipes across my face, because he, I don't know, I think he feels a little lonely whenever I make my little videos, but he's kind of curious about the camera right now, so if it wiggles or anything, he's rubbing up against it. Can you stop? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't really noticed a whole lot of, like, fat displacement or anything like that. My height, I haven't noticed changing at all, but also I'm not really tracking it. I haven't just noticed, like, any of my shoes or anything fitting a little differently than I remember. Something really weird that I did notice a lot of transgender women talking about, that I have noticed, I just thought it was a little weird, was the ability to hold your urine kind of goes away. So, if you go, you have to finish. It's not a choice. It's not like a little, it's not like a little bit where you can, finish part of the way. If you will be able to cut most of it off, but largely in part that ability goes away, but you cutting it off only kind of like limits it. It's still gonna go. Yeah. Other than that, I haven't really noticed like a whole lot of changes. For the most part. I'm still waiting on my exception to policy, which I'm gonna wait at least another week to see where it gets back, because I'm hoping it's back at like my main job instead of essentially like who controls the standards that I work with, so that way I can start growing my nails out, growing my hair out, and dressing essentially how I want to. I'll be able to wear earrings at work, because I usually can't. I think the standards is, because I work in like kind of an industrial environment, I think the standard is like a 3mm silver ball or diamond, which isn't too big. It's a lot smaller than what I'm wearing now. But yeah, that's mostly it. My friends have been asking me a lot of like questions about like what I want, my journey and stuff like that, and a whole bunch of other questions that I think are interesting. As far as like what certain things in my transition are, like FFS, what that entails, SRS, what that entails, breast augmentation, my preferences in what I would want from a breast augmentation, and so I guess so I was talking about that. For FFS, well, hello, and mostly BBL, because my dysphoria is mostly around how I am perceived and how I view my body. So a lot of it stems from my FFS, my breast augmentation, and my BBL, which are all the surgeries I am hoping to have gotten done at the end of my journey. Whether or not I will need a round 2 on any of them remains to really be determined. I do imagine I will need a second round of like breast augmentation, because males usually have wider shoulders, because our ratio between our hips and our shoulders is greater than 1. For females it is less than 1. Usually. So I'm hoping that, because usually whenever we get a breast augmentation, there is a large gap in the center, due to the fact that our shoulders are so far apart, that our breasts are a little bit farther apart than normal. So I imagine I will have to go bigger in order to close that gap, because if they overfill them, they do go out wider initially, and they also in proportion. So what I'm trying to say is that whenever you're overfilling them, the amount of area they take up as they go out is a lot greater than the area they would take out projecting out, giving the illusion that your shoulders are more proportionate to your body. It's one of the things I picked up and that I learned, and that I am hoping to utilize, because sure, having a bigger bust is nice, but I am mostly doing it because I just want to look normal. I don't want to look like somebody's experiment or somebody's science project, which is what some people do. That's why the doctors I picked out are mostly doctors that I trust. I have seen their work. They are very reputable, of the nature like that. I have seen doctors where they do botch their girls because they do use They're transgender surgery applications for purely monetary value, and if anybody would want to know, I would be more than happy to tell them the doctors that I know of that do that. Because what I don't want is for anybody else to be somebody else's project, because that's not what you are. You are your own project, and that is it. You should never be anybody else's project. For my BBL, I wanted to go to Dr. Dilbeck down in Miami. She is known as the BBL Queen down there. She is transgender herself, has had a BBL herself, routinely forms BBLs on the daily. She is prior Navy. I think she's prior 05 Navy officer. So, very reputable. I have seen her do BBLs, and she is phenomenal at them. Very phenomenal. She gets very thorough, very into what you would normally want or expect from a BBL. The aftercare, she can give you the results, but the aftercare portion relies on you. So if you do not follow your aftercare, your results are at risk. For FFS, I wanted to go to Dr. Peter Raphael. I probably will not end up going to Peter Raphael because he does not take insurance. And that's what I need. I cannot afford FFS without insurance because it is $30,000 and I do not have that at my disposal. So yes, I do rely on insurance to do that. Yeah. My breast augmentation, I will also probably not go to the doctor of my choice, but I think I wanted to go to, I don't remember his name, I have it written down, but a doctor out in Oklahoma. He is known for going pretty big, pretty natural into what I would want, because in looking at my doctors, also looking at what their standards of beauty are. Because if your goal is to be beautiful, going to one doctor advice another, your definition of beautiful might be different. My definition of feminine might be different. So looking at what they've done as far as transgender surgeries would give you an insight as to what you can expect. And that is what's something I have also done. But mostly I have looked at what the rate, how many gosh, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. How many bad results they've had, essentially. It's how many complications, there we go. How many complications they or their patients have had in the surgeries that I am requiring. And mostly they're very minimal. For BBLs, I think Dr. Dobek has had very few, almost none, and her surgery is the second most dangerous. SRS would obviously be the most. It is the least researched, it is the least performed, it is the rarest. So naturally, it would have the highest complication rate because it is not, it's not very common. So the methods and the level of experience I would expect most doctors to have would be very little. Breast augmentation gets done on biological women as well as transgender women, and so does occasionally FFS. SRS, certain portions can be applied to biological women because FFS and SRS are blanket terms to describe normal procedures done on both, that can be applied to both biological and transgender women, or cis women, whichever you prefer. I don't really care. I think cis women and transgender women are the same. Are not the same, but they are women nonetheless, because they have the term women in them. They are subcategories under the umbrella term women. That is how I look at it. Feel free to debate me on that. Because I know that is a whole big thing with like Ben Shapiro's like, what is a woman? What is a female? What is a male? What is a man? That is a whole thing, a whole argument had with Ben Shapiro and a whole lot of other conservatives that I couldn't care less about, to be honest with you, because I'm not here to have arguments. I am here to promote intelligent conversations and incite a lot of like what are some things may not be looked at, as far as like what some transgender women may be thinking whenever they go through their transition, because a gender transition is a gauntlet. To say anything else is an understatement. It is a very large undertaking that not a lot of people give credit for. A lot of people do think that like a child can do it, and a child cannot do it. A child cannot go through everything that an adult would go through on their own. They need a lot more. Their requirements are substantially more. So it is not easy. It is, administratively, it is significantly harder for a child. Just due to the amount of steps, because they're a child. They are a minor. Having said that, I would consider their transitions a lot more valid, because the requirements for them are more strenuous, due to the fact that the argument can be made that because they are a child, because they are a minor, because of the age restrictions that we have on other things like drinking and smoking exist, that the same restrictions can and are applied to a child. And I agree. There should be limitations, because children do change their mind. They do lie. They do not always know what they want. As an adult, there are different restrictions that are similar. And those restrictions I have to meet, and along with a bunch of others, because of my job. Because that is what they require. They require what is required by society, and then some. Because my job fails conservatively. Because if you fail conservatively, the requirements are obviously met. And that is the idea. So, that is the point. So, my transition, I don't consider any more valid than a normal adult's, because I'm transgender anyway. The only difference is the assurance that a child would have to be more thought out, more methodical, because some children also have not gone through puberty. Puberty blockers but can play a role at the point of a transition. They can play a role. Some may not need them, some may not choose not to go through them. There are benefits and drawbacks to and to not, that have to be weighed, and those should be outlined by your care provider. A lot of what I hear are as side effects of puberty blockers are nonetheless what they do. They block all development from puberty. So if you would expect something to develop at the onset of puberty, whether that be if you are female transitioning to male, that you go through a period, I would expect that to be delayed, if not lessened. For males transition into females, I would expect your gonad growth to not really occur at all, as well as a couple other noticeable things. I can't speak on the full benefits and drawbacks of each of these because I did not go through this being an adult. Having looked into it a little bit, the main portion is the gonad growth, and that is mostly attributed to if you get SRS after going on puberty blockers, you will not, you might not fully have the depth that you would have if you had not, because your length as a male pre-transition turns into your depth post SRS. Yes, I want to make sure I phrase that right, because essentially what it happens is the penis is inverted to create the vagina or the vaginal canal for sexual purposes and for urinary purposes. There are methods to get around them. The lack of depth, and those would have to be done by a specific surgeon, because different surgeons do offer different methods of doing SRS. You can, having looked into it, because my wife being transgender herself, her wanting SRS, I took it upon myself because I wanted to make sure that she knew everything, because I wanted to know everything. And if SRS was something that, since SRS is really not something that I want to go through, it was to make sure that I knew what to look for. If there was a complication, I could see it. I wouldn't be blindsided by it. I didn't know. Her first surgery was her breast augmentation, and I did not know everything about it. I merely funded it for her. And I didn't know everything that went into it because I have never looked into a breast augmentation myself. I didn't even know I was transgender at the time. I wasn't fully questioning my gender. I would merely cross-dress in private occasionally. And that was me having moments where I would want to feel more feminine, and it started very sporadic and became more and more prominent and common, and something that I wanted to do. And that was a whole conversation that me and my wife had to have whenever I told her, because it's kind of awkward to have. Previously, I kind of let one of my exes catch me cross-dressing, because I thought it would be cute and funny, and it would also kind of break the ice into, like, yeah, I occasionally like to, like, wear women's clothes. That was a big mistake on my part because my ex was very shocked, to say the least, because she, knowing me through childhood, knew me as this boy. Because I was this really social pariah, but I was a boy in her eyes. I did boyish things. I wrestled, I did track, I did cross country, I threw knives in my spare time, because I thought it was fun. It was a good way to relieve stress. I would watch movies, I would watch scary movies, and then in private, I would wear women's clothes occasionally whenever I, would get the chance, because it made me feel better. It made me feel more complete. It was more at peace, kind of, would be a better way of putting it. It was more of like a feeling of this is right. So whenever I make these videos, sure, I do dress feminine throughout the week. I went over to my friend's house in like a little sweater dress and some leggings. But me doing a full face, dressing feminine, wearing this little skirt that I even sewed for me, is me at my maximum peace value. So I am happier this way. Yeah. And then so I did tell my wife, because having made the mistake previously of choosing to let my ex catch me, I wanted to tell her. Because it didn't go well the first time, so I had no reason to think it would go well the second time. So I told her. She was less shocked. Did think it was weird. Didn't like it, but didn't think it was any less weird. So we talked about it, and one thing led to another, and she eventually would ask the brooding question in her mind if I was transgender. You're being very good today. You're a good boy. And we all know where that went. I told her the truth because I felt it was disrespectful to lie, knowing the full possibility. I might be. I might be, and did turn out to be. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm transitioning, and this is my 10th week. This is my video, and these videos are my gift to the other transgender women who are trying to figure it out and are trying to look for advice, to be honest with you, so that they can know what to expect. Because transitioning, I didn't know what to expect. I listened to many transgender women's stories, is like how they knew what they went through and stuff like that, and none of them said that my chest would hurt. None of them said that it would be very awkward to try and stop urinating, because whenever I'm in a hurry, usually I will pee a little bit, cut it off, go back, finish what I'm doing, and then finish up. Not possible anymore. First off, so that came to a quick halt. The emotional range was touched on in just about everybody, but it was sporadic in what I would hear. My height, I didn't know would really change. I've only heard a select couple mention it, and usually they discover it by looking at their shoe size, and they're like, I was a size 10, now I'm a size 9.5, or I'm a size 9. I probably should look at my shoe size, to be honest with you, because I do have some feminine shoes that I wear. I wear, like, mostly boots because I'm kind of a butch woman. But I do enjoy the occasional heel, and I do enjoy, like, feeling feminine in heels. It makes me feel good. And that's mostly what I'm learning, is kind of like how to feel good at my max femininity and to be respectful to the others around me, because sure, my voice gives it away easily, if not my massive Adam's apple that I have, because I know I can't hide that I am transgender, so I dress androgynously, I will wear makeup, and if somebody calls me ma'am, it does make me feel good. To deny such would be a lie and an insult to y'all's intelligence. I'm a transgender woman. Of course it would make me feel good to be called ma'am, vice, Mr., or sir. Does it bother me to be called sir? No. Sure, I'm like, dang, I wish I could be more passable and be called miss to kind of earn that right, and I kind of take it as a challenge. Like, if I am called sir, I have not earned that right in their eyes to be called ma'am or miss or she. So I try. I'm still working on my voice. It is very, very, probably mostly masculine, but I do try. I do listen to trans voice lessons, at least the YouTube channel. I do try, and whenever I have time to, apply those so I can be more passable. Because honestly, if I sounded more like Victoria Rose, Blair White, and Samantha Lux, I would love nothing more than to sound more like them. They have wonderful voices that I applaud them for. I can't imagine the amount of work and the amount of time that they put into them. So, good on them. I still clearly have a long way to go, but one day I do hope to look back on these videos and be like, yep, this is my before and after, and be proud at how far I've come. I'm already proud at how far I've come. Between day one and now, it's only been 10 weeks, and I've got minor breast tissue. And does it bother me whenever somebody tries to, like, see if they can make fun of me? Of course not. I make fun of myself. And as such, I think it's funny that somebody would even try, because I do it mostly around my wife because I think it's funny. I will answer the phone in funny ways just because I make jokes for only my sense of humor. And sure, it's annoying to some of my coworkers, but to me, laughter is the best medicine. And sometimes it's not enough, clearly. I am taking medicine daily. But yeah. And as the leader of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee, I am going through my transition, and happily so. I am happy to start these videos. I do apologize for my followers who have requested and are waiting for my makeup video. To be honest with you, I am just not ready to show myself without doing a full face. It might be a little, I don't personally view it as disrespectful because it's mostly me taking care of myself. These videos are for me, and they are supposed to be me at my max femininity. Reporting in real time, in unraw, unedited, uncut, unscripted, what I am doing and what is going on with me. And because I'm not ready, I haven't done it yet. So I appreciate your patience, and I do ask that you be patient with me. I promise it is coming. I just need to carve out time to do it, and to be able to sit down and fully have the confidence to be like, alright, I'm gonna show my full face pre-SRS, or pre-FFS to y'all, but I am simply not ready. And would it be helpful? Absolutely. I do plan to, because I'm not a makeup artist. I merely perform my makeup. Perform's not the right word. I execute my makeup routine in a manner that is male to female, giving the illusion of female characteristics. To give you a verbal rundown of my entire makeup routine, I start with a makeup primer. My primer goes on first after I have done my full skincare routine in the morning. So skincare, primer, in that order. Afterwards, I let my primer dry. I use a MAC primer. It's a little spray-on primer, which is pretty good. After my primer dries, I will color correct. I will apply an orange color corrector by LA Girl along my mustache line and my beard line to cover my beard shadow. Part of my makeup routine is in my skincare, I do shave. I do a clean shave with a razor, because if you do a electric razor, it's more like a buzz, so you don't get a close shave. That's what I do. After my color corrector, I do apply a foundation. I use a Maybelline foundation occasionally, and this is my NARS foundation. So I do apply that next. I use a wet beauty blender to blend my foundation. Same with my color corrector. I use a dry, flat beauty blender for my color corrector. I use a separate color corrector than the one I use for my foundation and the one I use for my concealer, because the orange pigment can mix and I don't want to give off an orange glow. After I have blended it, I apply concealer along here, down. I fill in this triangle and I go out to my cheek a little bit, along the bridge of my nose, here, and here. The purpose of the concealer is to brighten up those areas. I brighten this area to create the illusion that my forehead is more curved, and that my brow bone is not as prominent as it should be. That is the purpose. After that, I do my brows. I use a brow pencil to go under and over my brows to give them the sharp, microbladed look. Not really microbladed look, but it's a sharp look. I try and give them a sharp, well done look, and then I color it in, and then I'll use a brow mascara to shape and color a little bit of the brow hairs. After that, I do use the same concealer, which I use ColourPop, ColourPop and a Tarte concealer. I haven't really, I say I use it, I have a Tarte concealer. I haven't used it yet, because I was getting low on my ColourPop concealer, so I got a Tarte concealer. And I put it over my eyelid, and then I'll go to the corners of my eyelids and kind of over where they like curve in around the hooded area, and then I'll dab a little bit of the concealer on my hand, and I'll take a brush that I only use for concealer, and I'll dab it along the bottom of my brows, and I'll clean it up a little bit to give it a sharp, clean underline and to define it a little bit more. After that, I will apply bronzer to my cheekbones and my jaw area to kind of structure my jaw a little bit along here and here. I'll apply a lighter color over it on a wider brush to blend it in a little bit more and to kind of fade it out. I'll apply a brush over the top of it, more so the top of the darker bronze area, like just above. And I'll go up around here and kind of shade it out laterally and then pull it down a little bit to kind of mix it with the darker bronzer to create a more faded look. And then I'll take a highlighter. It'll be a darker highlighter, over like a more brownish highlighter over the browner area of my bronzer, and then over the blush I'll use a more pinkish blush, and I'll fade that in real good to create to kind of accentuate those features. That's what I try to do. I'll take a very thin brush. Next, I'll take a very thin brush, and I will use a dark contour to create these lines along the bridge of my nose and to kind of go out into my eyes, and I will fade them out into the rest of my nose, creating a thinner nose shape, or the illusion of one, or a smaller nose, because males routinely have a larger nose. And that, along with this, are part of the MTF portion of my makeup routine. Next is the more fun part, and is my eyeshadow portion. Your eyeshadow colors kind of are up to you. There's not a right way, there's not a wrong way. It all depends on the look you're going for. Whether you're going for a more glamorous look, an artsy look, an outlandish look, if there's a special occasion that you're doing for a certain type of theme, it all depends on kind of like what you're doing. Fendi, what are you doing over there? And that is more along the lines of like what that is for. I went for a more glamorous look, so what I did was I took a brighter eyeshadow and I faded it up. I tried to go up more above the hooded portion around my eyes and down just a little bit, just to hook it down. Same with both sides. I'll take a darker one and I will go into the crease of my eye and then go here to the edge, and then I'll just only do into the crease. And then, like, because I like to give myself a little bit of a glow, I'll go in with glitters. I'll use because I used browns in this one, I used a brownish glitter, a goldish glitter, and then I faded those together, and then I used a white glitter to into the corner of my eyes, and I'll fade that in with the gold to create this transition period of brightish of highlighter essentially. And the fade into white is something that I do to kind of highlight my eyes a little bit more. After I'm done with my eyeshadow, I go in with my eyeliner, which I do a kind of a mid. I start a little bit like halfway in between the gold, and I'll go out and I'll do like a little hooded wing up a little bit. The shape changes, it kind of all depends on like what I'm going for in this period. What are you up to? Huh? What are you doing? Are you here to say hi? Get over here and say hi. After the eyeliner, I take a white eye pencil and I'll go underneath to accentuate the features of my eye just a little bit more, and I'll do the corners of my eyes. And then I'll apply mascara. That's pretty much it for the full makeup routine. And then I might do a lip. I might be a lip plumper, a lip gloss, or it might be like a full shade. This was a lip gloss that I wore at work all day, and then I put a lip plumper over it to kind of give me something a little bit more pouty. That is my full makeup routine in 8 minutes. Usually that whole thing takes me 35-ish minutes, 45-ish minutes. It used to take me an hour. It was pretty extensive. I have gotten quicker. I think I can get it down to 30 minutes. Oh, last thing. I do apply setting spray. Very important. Before I do a lip. You can do a powder. If you want to, the powder does sometimes kind of fade out the eyeliner because it does go out the eyeliner a little bit. But I think that's more dependent on what setting powder you use. That's pretty much it. I want to give you all a full video rundown of what I do because I feel it's owed. It was asked for, and I said I would deliver. So because I keep my promises, I do intend on delivering. I just need to get to the point where I'm more comfortable on camera without a full face of makeup. Thank you for being patient with me this far. I think that's all for tonight. I know this is one of my longer videos. We're at almost an hour. Jesus Christ. But I appreciate y'all sticking with me. If you would like to support me, please like and subscribe. I am building this channel in the hopes of reaching the masses, to educate, to inspire, to create a good place for discussions and a good community. So please like, comment. Don't feel free to comment. Ask questions. Pick my brain. I love learning new things. I love looking into new things. If you have questions that I don't even know, let's learn together. I guarantee you I don't know everything. So please ask. This is George. Oh my gosh. This is Brianna Sinclair signing off on her 10th week HRT video.